Now, let's talk about building a real estate team, but not the way most people talk about it. Okay. Now, if you're thinking about building a team or already have one that's plateaued, you've probably realized something nobody really told you in the beginning. Newsflash, it's harder than it looks. It's not just about hiring people. It's about developing people, leading, coaching, creating opportunity, managing expectations, building out infrastructure, holding that vision, and doing all of that without letting your own production really fall apart, at least until it's big enough to be replaced. All right, my name is Isaac Guzman with LPT Realty, and after years of building sales teams, helping leaders scale, and coaching agents and team leaders across the country, I've seen the real difference between teams that thrive and teams that fall apart within 18 months. And I'm here to walk you through how to build a team the right way, the scalable way in 2025 and 2026. Hey, before we get started, if you're serious about growing a real estate team that's profitable, productive, and doesn't require you to carry anything over on your shoulders, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a team leader or a solo agent who's ready to level up. It might just be the thing that saves them from the ultimate burnout. Let's do something real quick. Let's start with a hard truth. Most real estate teams are built on shaky foundations. A top producer gets too busy, hires a buyer's agent or two, and maybe a TC, and suddenly they're CEO of a small business that they weren't really trained to run. And that's not because they're bad or dumb or anything like that. It's just like, hey, that's kind of the natural progression you fall into, but it doesn't mean it's intentional. The systems oftentimes are weak, okay? The training is improvised at best. Okay, the accountability is non-existent, let's be real. And before long, they're managing chaos, not building a business. But there is good news, okay? There is actually a better way. But it starts by flipping the script on how you think about your role as a team leader. When you build a team, your role shifts from rainmaker to rainmaking team leader. You're not just in it for yourself anymore. You're not just a lead generation machine. You are a leader, from closing deals to building systems. Now, here's the thing. Did you follow a lot of systems as a solo agent? A lot of us didn't. So you have to shift from me to we. And if you stay stuck in production mode and your production mode was the Wild West, and then you try to build a team on the side, you'll eventually burn out or plateau. And that doesn't just hurt you, it hurts the agents that you bring along with you. And ultimately, it could hurt the future opportunity that they have with other teams because maybe they get stuck with the stigma that came from a poorly run team. So if you're serious about building a team that lasts, one that's profitable, productive, and actually provides freedom and leverage for the people inside it, you need three critical things, okay? 1, structure, 2, support, and 3, scalability. All right, let's break those down real quick though, okay? Super short video, but I want to make sure that you understand where I'm going with this, okay? First, structure. Every great team is built on clarity and accountability. That means defined roles, documented systems, onboarding plans, and expectations. If your agents don't know what winning looks like every single week, they're going to be guessing. If you don't give them exactly what that looks like, if you don't know how to coach them towards it, you are reacting. And here's what I mean by that as well. If you're not aware of the systems that you need to produce to track and to hold people accountable, then your coaching for them is going to be guesswork at best. So for example, let's say there's 2 people who are spending the same amount of time making calls in the database on a weekly basis. Well, if you're not tracking that the right way, what you might think is that one person is highly skilled because they're getting better results, and this other person just needs more role play or just needs more reps or just doesn't have it. When in reality, and this is a true story, or this is based on a true story for me, when in reality, maybe person A that's getting better responses is actually sending 5 times more text messages than this other person. In other words, it's not what they're saying on the phone, it's what they're doing after the phone call. When the person hangs up or doesn't answer, the second person wasn't sending any text messages, whereas the first person was. And so that can make all the difference. So if you're not tracking the right things, if you're not using the right systems and monitoring it the right way, you're going to come up with the wrong inferences and you're going to send somebody down the path that maybe isn't the right fit. In real life, that happened with us. We had two agents making similar amount of calls every single week. One of them was getting almost double the amount of appointments than the other person. Right? Same, similar lead flow, all that stuff being the same. And you would have thought, wow, this person is just really good at phone calls. What are they saying on their calls? It's so much better. There was no difference really, right? Nothing meaningful that we could find. But what we did find, because have everyone accountable to using the same system, to tracking their results the right way, we were able to look and say, whoa, what do you know? This person is sending 5 times more text messages than you are. Why don't we follow the breadcrumbs and figure out what they're doing? Turns out when the second agent started sending more text messages, their appointment rate went up. All right. That's why it's super important. Now at LPT and in our group, Real Estate CEOs and the collective, we help team leaders actually follow the right structure from day one. You get plug and play onboarding tracks, activity-based scorecards, and access to national leadership tools that allow you to really focus on growth, not just putting out fires. All right. That way, whether you're hiring your first agent or your 50th, you're not reinventing the wheel every time. All right. So that's structure. What about support? Can't do this alone. One of the biggest mistakes I see team leaders make is trying to be everything to everyone. Lead gen training, accountability, marketing, compliance, transaction management. And if it all runs through you, you're not building a team, you're building a bottleneck. Support actually means systems that scale without you. Here's what I mean by that. Are you coaching agents to coach themselves in your absence? Are you teaching them fundamental truths that they can take and use even when you're not around to remind them? So for example, we teach something called the 3 principles of productivity. We go over it all the time. It's the underlying foundation of what all of our agents do. The 3 fundamentals, the 3 principles of productivity, should I say, are activity, skill set, and process. And we break it down. We essentially let them know that anytime you're not achieving what you want to achieve, or you want to take your business to the next level, you have to either increase your activity, enhance your skill set, or refine your process. Oftentimes it's a combination of the 3. And so that's what we know. Here's what I know is that there are times where maybe I'm on vacation, or maybe an agent is just really busy and in the weeds and they're working through something. If they know that fundamental truth, they have to start looking at one, well, what does my activity look like? Am I hitting the right level of activity? Okay, yeah, I believe I am. And so what does my skill set look like? Well, if I were to use the AI role-playing tool or AI to listen into my calls and give me a ranking, oh, wow, what do you know? I could actually do better at these 2 areas, and I'm going to start working on those consistently. Or, you know what? Actually, I'm crushing in my activity. My calls sound great. Maybe it's actually my process. Maybe I should focus more on delivering videos in between having spoken with the person and actually meeting them at our very first appointment. Maybe that'll increase my show rate, right? There's different ways to dissect that, and they don't need me to sit there and do that all the time. Initially, they do, because I need to reinforce the 3 principles of productivity and all the other things we coach them on. But eventually, I want them to be in a place where mentally they're able to, A, find the resources that they need. Do they have a roadmap for where the resources are? Who are the people that I can reach out to get this information? Or do I simply always have to go through my team leader, right? Or do I actually know the players at the brokerage? Do I actually know the people that can help me in the marketing department, right? And do I have a relationship with them? Do I have a roadmap? Do I have an organizational chart where I know where to go for what type of questions? B, can I self-diagnose issues in my business? Ultimately, they are a business owner themselves. And if you're constantly the conduit to solutions, then you are actually the bottleneck. And at LPT, you get marketing automation. We get print materials from digital marketing campaigns as well. And we have transaction support platform and access to high-level coaching, not just for you, but for your actual agents. So when we bring people in, or when you bring people in, you're not just giving them a desk and a pep talk. All right. You're actually plugging them into systems that build momentum from day one. Again, I just threw out this video about teams plus, right? We have this thing called Teams Growth Plus at LPT, where LPT actually provides a platform for teams to grow, but it also helps them onboard and train their agents on a regular basis. That's really important. Let's get into that third piece. Here's what I think oftentimes matters most, which is scalability. Most teams fail not because the agents are bad, but because the model doesn't scale. Maybe you're paying too much out on splits. Maybe you're losing agents to other teams because you can't really give them that next opportunity fast enough. Maybe you're stuck doing too many deals yourself just to keep the lights on. That's an important thing to think about. When you think about scalability, you have to remember that it has to work for everybody as you grow. And so are you setting the right expectations for your agents when you start recruiting? That's a really important one that you have to think about. Are you letting your current agent population know that you plan on growing? Because some of them will resist. And I'm not saying give in to their resistance. What I'm saying is be a better leader. Help them understand that winning at the biggest level is helping them win at their individual level. I once had an agent on one of our teams who, when we sat back and did the math, as our team 7x'd, our team in agent count, we grew by 7x. Their income, our number one producer, his income grew by 3x. In other words, all the things he felt sometimes like we were going too fast, or maybe the quality of people wasn't up to his standard, right? Which really isn't his problem, but I totally got it and understood it and heard it out. But when we accounted for everything, his life was better, his money was better, and the systems around him to help him scale his business were even better because we were able to reinvest what the other people were bringing in into better systems for everybody, including the top producers. Do you have a culture that you're trying to protect because you want everyone to look and feel the same and feel comfortable? Or are you growing your culture intentionally? Because here's the thing, every single person that comes into your team will impact your culture. It's up to you if it's negative or positive. Are you setting the expectations that maybe turnover will be high because you're bringing in a lot of people and you're running them through a rigorous process? You are able to identify who really is going to make it and who isn't, because anybody can interview really well. Anybody can pass a personality assessment, right? Anybody can do good on a group interview or do bad on all those things, but then show up completely differently when rubber meets the road. People that are really hungry, even if they're not really well polished, they could show up and completely outwork everybody and show amazing results. You will not know that until you bring them in. There's also people who are going to interview amazing, and you're going to think that they are a rock star, and you're going to bet the house on them, and they're going to fall completely flat. They're going to shirk away from accountability and totally drop the ball. You won't know that until you put them through the pressure, put them through the process. And so, because of that, bring in a lot of people, sift out the people that are not going to make it on your platform. That's going to be high turnover. So are you ready to talk to your team about that? Let them know, hey guys, I'm going to be bringing in 4 people this month. And of those 4 people, 2, maybe even 3 of them are going to be gone in the next 30 days. That's not because we're bad or this revolving door. It's because we're just looking for the right people. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to quadruple the size of the people that are going to be at the Christmas party, that are going to go to the happy hour? Or do you really just want a bunch of yes men to surround you? These are all choices that you have to make. In addition to that, what about your systems? What about your processes? What about your transaction coordinator who maybe doesn't want to do as many things as you want to do? Maybe they don't want to scale up to 50 agents. Maybe they don't want to have a hybrid model where agents can list and do buy sides because they don't like the way certain agents list houses and manage their listings. These are all real things. If you've ever tried to build a team, you actually know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't tried to build a team, trust me, think about all these little things that happen. At LPT, your growth model includes a national recruiting platform. We have something called joinateam.com where they actually turn around and help grow your team, because LPT, unlike anywhere else, has every single incentive to see you grow your team. Because an agent can choose as a solo agent a $5,000 cap. At every other cloud-based brokerage, if they're a solo agent, they choose a higher cap. Maybe it's $15,000, $16,000, $12,000, and if and only if they join a team do they get a reduced cap. At LPT, they can choose to have that $5,000 cap from day one. So at brokerage A in cloud-based world, the brokerage goes, hey, welcome, you're a solo agent, cool, let's try to help you get there. Even though statistically you're less likely to make it, let's help you because we want to get our full 16,000 or whatever it is before they will introduce you to a team, because then they're only going to get a quarter of the revenue. Whereas at LPT, they see somebody as a solo agent and they go, oh, you chose the $5,000 cap. Good for you. Have you thought about a team? Also, what about things, revenue share for team builders and the ability to brand your team, your systems, your culture without having to build every tool from scratch. You're not locked into someone else's brand like at other places. You're empowered to build your own. Okay. I've coached leaders who were stuck at 3 agents for multiple years, 5 agents, 6 agents. Once they plugged into a system like this where they have the resources, the training, the back end support, and the financial leverage, they went to 10, 15, 25 agents in less than 12 months. And they did it without burning out or going broke. And that's important. Let me give you an example. All right. So I recently helped a team leader who had, I think, 3 agents on his team. All 3 of them were producing like 1 to 2 deals a month, which isn't bad, right? Like that's pretty good if we could keep that standard up. And he was still closing like 6 to 8 deals monthly personally just to keep things going. But if you backed his production out, he was not making much money. I think he was actually in the negative. And he was maxed out though. That was the main part. The finances weren't the biggest issue. He was maxed out. Well, because we care in our group, we helped him implement good onboarding practices, tracking activity the right way, listing strategy training for his agents, and weekly accountability calls. He stopped doing every part of the operation himself and focused on hiring and leading. 6 months-ish later, his team closed 42 transactions in a quarter. He was only personally involved in about 8 of them. All right. That's what happens when you build with leverage, because he was a great leader and he had the right mindset and the right vision. He just needed the playbook and he needed the framework and the right structure to build on. Now, let me be clear. Building a team is not for everyone. If you're not willing to lead, coach, take risks, and develop people, if you want to control everything yourself, it's not going to work, all right? But if you love helping others win, if you have a vision that's bigger than your own production, and you're ready to actually scale beyond just being an agent, I can help. Let's jump on a quick one-on-one call. I'll walk you through how the team model at LPT works, show you how our leaders are scaling with systems and stock, right? And help map out a plan for your own growth. All right, here's what you do. Click the link in the description, drop a comment below, and I'll reach out to you personally. This isn't about hype, all right? It's about building something real, something that gives you real income, freedom, and impact. If you value this video, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it. Please share it with somebody who's thinking about starting a team or is already building one. And if you want to surround yourself with high-level leaders, real true team builders, check out the link and join us now, where the top 1% of agents across the country come to learn and grow together. You don't have to build this thing all on your own. You just have to take the first step. Let's talk soon.